Alright YouTube, this is going to be a short little video for Russ at Double R. Russ, you asked me about getting the welds out of this channel and making a nice V in this channel. And as you could see in the video earlier, that there was a lot of, the way I had to do this, I actually had a piece here and then here, and then I added this flat piece after I put it on the shrinker stretcher and got the radius. And of course, so I ended up with the weld here and here. Russ, what I do to start with is something that I've seen you do also. I don't have that that same grinding wheel disc that you used. I know it's a little wider than normal. These are some that I've picked up at Lowe's or somewhere. They're not the paper thin, but they've got a little bit of width to them. But Russ, what I'll do is I'll come in there and start knocking those welds down with this. And I'll come in there and I'll work that thing back in two. And it's a time-consuming process, but you get those welds knocked down as best you can with this. But the trick is the next little tool that I'm going to show you, and it's something that that I actually came up with. They've got them on the market. Obviously, I didn't make the arbor thing, but what I did is after the little things that you get in the pack, they just don't last no time. Now what this is this is part of a big belt that we use at work, and it comes from Germany or somewhere, I believe. And it's what they grind those parts down. They do the rough grind on them. This is about 50 grit. Well, after I wore those things out, I still had all the pieces that weren't doing me any good. So what I did was I would just take those pieces and tear off the old stuff, and I would cut out a round disc of that 50 and glue on to those things that screw in to this piece. And I know you've probably seen those that screw into this, just like that. So what I did was take all those that were left over that were worn out, and you can see that one, I've got it wore down pretty good. Once they get to a certain diameter, I'll change out and go. But there again, it's a 50 grit, and it's a real tough backing. Has to be to grind down those alloy pieces on the parts at work. But let me put this one back together, and I'll show you what happens when you use this. And it makes that nice little cleaned out V. Once you get those welds down with your roll off, I'll take this thing and I'll come in from this angle, and I'll actually bend that edge down just as it's running. It'll fold that edge, and it'll make a small little radius with that paper like that. But what I'll do is I'll come in and I'll work it from this angle on real high speed, being careful not to get on this top outside edge or anything like this edge. You want to kind of give it a, push that thing down and make that mushroom lip a little bit, and you work it down this way. And then also you'll need to come in and do it at this angle, because that weld is rounded over from piece to piece. If it's in there right, that fill weld, if it's in there right, you're going to have about 50-50, and that's what you want. So you work it from both directions. Work it from this direction with that piece mushroomed in there like that a little bit, and work it from this direction. And once you start getting down in there to what you think is pretty close to finished, what I'll do is I'll take another piece of sheet metal that has that angle. I don't know if I've got one handy, but I'll take this one. But I'll take another piece of angle, and really all you need is about a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch or so. And what you can do is you can lay that in there, and you can actually test and see if you're down in there close. You know, obviously if that weld's still built up, it's going to keep that piece of angle up off of there. If you get down in there about right, that angle's going to fit down in there just like that. If that weld's still in there, it's going to keep you up off of it like that. So when you get down in there like that, before you go all the way through, you know, just keep testing that piece as you go, as you clean that weld down. And that's how I do it. And it's so far it's worked out pretty good, Russ. I've got plenty of that material, and I know you've probably got some of those things that you've had in the past. I've got plenty of that 50. And what I'll do is, you can see right here, this stuff comes in a big belt, a 20-foot long belt. And once they use it just a little bit, they have to toss it because they can't get any metal in there. If they get any metal in that belt as it's grinding on that airplane part, that metal's going to damage. So they're continuously changing these things out. But I don't know if there's one, got the 50, but that is an extremely tough piece of paper. But what I'll do is just make my pattern and draw my circle. I'll keep one of that diameter, so I'll know when I screw it onto that little arbor deal that gives me about 1/8 of an inch or so. But I'll keep several of these squares cut out, and when I start getting low, I'll just make me some more, and I'll take some pliers and tear it back off of this piece right here and re-glue it on with super glue or Gorilla Glue. And that's how you make them up. I've got plenty of these, and I'd be glad to send you some, Russ. The one thing that I would tell you, and see the way this is worn, it's worn right in the middle most of the time. So these outside edges are going to be pretty good, and they'll cut down a weld. I mean, that's what it's designed to do, is cut metal. So pretty handy little deal there. And I'll be glad to send you some of that if you've got these pieces. Or you can actually buy you a set of these, and once you've used up the little sheet stuff in there, you can just start making your own like that if you decide to. But again, that's the easiest way that I've found, and it is a pain to get in there, but that makes it a lot easier. And I hope that helps you out, Russ.